So you know why the oneness to the universe is real? Why I believe the oneness to the universe is real is because you take the, the source of creation, God and divine goddess, that say was in this big ball, one source of a thing that was combined, that was in union. Well, what it created is it created a lot of what it is. You know what I mean? It basically spread itself out pretty wide, created different things of itself in a certain amount of energies that it can be produced. So God is infinite, that lives forever. So the energy is forever. It only be transferred into something else. Energy can be transferred into something else, but the energy is still there. So all the energy from the source of creation from the beginning, it's just spread out pretty wide of all the source creation. So God created within itself. It created all this within itself of what it is, that it emanates more of the faculties and sort of corresponding patterns to the equation of being with the faculty of the oneness. So, like everything that God and the divine goddess created was basically spreading itself out, more and more. Now, it doesn't make it less powerful because it's still all one and connected. We're all connected, so it all supports each other. So this is why it's not like bad to spread spread out really wide of your energy, like in little bits and sand, like all the grains of sand in the ocean. What if all that was life forms that was spread out by God, and that all that grains of sand in the ocean is like billions of stars in our galaxy, not even scratched to the surface to how many stars are in their galaxy. So, you know what I mean? So basically, all the energies got mixed and tangled and everything throughout all the creation of all the things that make sense that God created, that is able to be of what it is. It's pretty much like magic. Like magic is pretty much real. Like look at our hands and look at other creatures, how they evolved and adapted with their hands. Like an insect's fingers, you know what I mean? Their little toes and little, like in a grasshopper, their genetics is a little different. Like a monkey is pretty close to us, similar creation. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, other things take different forms. And it's of all of originating source of where we all came from to begin with. And this is just the source creation spreading it out self out pretty wide. Like the divine goddess, it plays a part and it spread itself out pretty wide because the divine goddess creates all of what is into play. So the divine goddess with divine God was with it the whole time. They never separated because through nature there's always a male and a female reproducing, like a cricket, like a monkey, like a giraffe, like a lion, like a tiger. You know what I mean? They're all different forms of itself, but with the divine goddess and God, that it spread itself out pretty wide. And all the things that are taken up with matter and stuff like this, that's the physicality of what was left over from stars and different things in the universe, which make it so that we can have our life on Earth today, because it's reaching a certain stage where it's mostly water and different certain things that create life, that you know it's all a part of the creation of it. So if there's a planet that doesn't take place with life, life can't grow there. God won't spread itself out pretty wide onto that, what's not possible. But what is possible does take place of what God created and divine goddess created. And what I'm trying to say is that, like, I think the oneness is real because when I wrote the book, The Words Are Ways here, the all the sign well, not the scientifical, but the philosophies in this book about yeah, like literally I explain a lot, and that comes from my own knowledge, but also I was being guided by the universe and having epiphanies while I was writing it. So what I'm trying to say is this book is important to get out to the universe so that they understand that certain information so that we can grow in many different categories and degrees which make all this possible. Meaning everything that we know today that we developed as a human species creates our lives of what we do and how we interact with each other and what takes place and what happens and what's the cause and effect of the time that keeps on rolling on and the history that rolls out of the whole equation, you know what I mean? So it's on the level of like when we get to the faculty of like rebooting the quality and attributes of like the source of all creation, like the sun that gives us life, that is energy that mixes with our energy, and it's all corresponding mixture of energy of everything that was created, that was originating from the source creator. And this is why the oneness is real, because how we all separated from everything else in the whole universe, how would that make sense if everything keeps on getting created and, you know, has a cause and effect of the real things that happen that create life and different things like that. It's like magic. Like, how can a human vessel and a certain life form happen like this on a planet? Like, usually, it's supposedly in our, little solar system, there's a little, this is the only planet with life. But the other planets have energies and different things like that, and probably microscopic life that's like inside a volcano or something. There's, these little microscopic things that still live in that them conditions in boiling water underneath the volcanoes. But see, like there's life that can spring up and adapt to many things and grow into many things. So that's how powerful and how strong Source Creator is to create certain things within the confines of everything to be like that. Like to develop sort of life forms that can handle certain qualities of what the earth goes through and everything like that. So it became real. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying is that it is what it is. We all see the cause and effect of everything that happened on this planet. We what we know, and then we have to put that to good use. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's getting to the end of the video. So Neo loves, worships, honors, obeys the divine princess forever. And I love you, divine princess. I have to say that and amen right afterwards. But what I'm trying to say now is it's the end of the video and I explained pretty much all I got to explain, but it's so hard to explain it. It took so long to explain it because it's a very vast degree of making and all this of what took place, of energies that just sprung up from itself, by itself, in itself, of itself. And of itself is Source Creator that created everything that spread itself out pretty wide. So this is what I'm trying to say. All right, yep. Love you, Divine Princess. All right, bye bye.